Oh, hi, my name's Tony Cohen from, usually would say sunny San Diego, sunny La Jolla. It's pitch black and it's been freezing for a few days, hence my attire. This is the coldest it's been since I've been here. It hit like 45 degrees, which is insane. And I know you guys are in Alaska and Canada and like trapping bears and whatever you're doing up there. So what I want to do, 90% of success in life, as we know, is showing up. So it doesn't matter there's 6 people on here or 600. I've got exactly the same program. Going from my, does anyone else have a Rhino notebook? Has anyone ever seen one of those? Josh, you didn't get one of those at an event somewhere? And it's just a straight plain notebook. And earlier today, flexing your AQ is, hey, can you step in tonight and do the team lead, I don't know what I'm doing, team leadership? And yeah, absolutely. The answer is yes. And if I didn't have like notebooks, I would have just done it off the whim. I've done hundreds of these things. However, what I thought about, and flexing your AQ, my Wi-Fi completely crashed 5 minutes before this was set up. Don't know, it's on now. So if we crash out, it's the Wi-Fi, it's the cable company, it's not me. What I looked at, and I was looking through some notes. I was going to, I've been inside for a couple of days. I'm just joking with Josh about this. I've not been outside this year yet. I've not been out my front door yet this year, which you may find odd. I'm normally always outside. So I've been going through some notes and going through, not a great taker of notes, but I'm a taker of notes. I'm not a great follower-upper of my own notes. So I found this notebook while I was going through some stuff, having a bit of a, not a clear out, on the Rhino. And first page was, start as though it's your first day, which is great at this time of year. Second page was some valuable lessons I got from Tony Robbins. And excuse me, I don't go to the Tony Robbins events now because they've got too huge for me. And I find myself lost in the crowd. Like, I just don't like big crowds. But I'm going back now. However, I'm going back now to about 1994, I think was the first one I went to. And I started reading Tony Robbins in the late 80s. And I went to an event in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And there was maybe about 400 or 500. It was kind of intimate compared to how it is now. I don't have time to do this full program. So I'm just going to give you the 3 top tips. And then I will put it together. It's about an hour's exercise. I'll put it together so everyone can do it. It won't be tonight. I'll find a time slot and I'll do the entire Tony Robbins program if you guys would like me to. Have I got your attention? Or are you staring at your phone? Thank you. Josh isn't even in the room. I'm looking at someone else's ceiling fan, but that's okay. So the 3 sort of secrets. Okay, I know some of you are working off your phone, so you may not be able to see me, or you may be driving. If you're driving, please, please, please don't stare at your phone. So, number 1, top tip, accept only the absolute best. Okay, we've all heard that. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? So, does that mean about what you accept? Or does that mean what you self-accept? As we do one thing, we do everything. However, here's what I'd say. Accepting only the best is just a phrase. It's just terminology, and people use it all the time, which gives it lessens its impact. Accept only the absolute best, that's a different level. One of the things I heard from Richard Branson years ago was, hitting goals is easy. All you've got to find out is exactly what you want. Not what you want, exactly what you want. And then find out what you're willing to give up to get it. And that can apply to everything in life, not just business. So my point here is, which Ken did a great video earlier about self-talk and pattern language. Pattern language is what we speak to others, but we also, it's what we hear. And pattern language is saying the same thing over and over again until we start to believe it. That's what's known as psycho-cybernetics. And that's about a 30-day program. And incidentally, we're doing a great program right now, and I'm getting great results from it just 6 days in. So accept only the absolute best. So what if you had like a really hot date and you took them out for a bite to eat? And let's say it was a first date and you really wanted to impress them. Would you take them to McDonald's? Ken would. No. Would you take them to an okay restaurant? Or would you take them, if you wanted to impress them and you want to see a second date out of it, would you take them to the absolute best place you knew? Well, of course we would. So when we project that out, are they going to treat you and give you their full attention? Or are they going to be playing on the phone? No, they're going to be giving you the full attention because you projected out your absolute best. That's what you're going to get back. It's the same with effort. If you're digging in it, and we set out, it was like 4 of us, 5 of us, set out on a 90-day run, running right up to Phoenix. And we're about halfway through. And those things are tough. I mean, those things are really tough. And I know, like, like this week, and I think Ken, you had it the same day, like New Year's Day, I was spent. So I took that whole day to work on myself, but I really went delving and working on some of these exercises. And what's the absolute best thing I can do for myself right now? Well, on that particular day, the best thing I could do for myself, absolutely the best, was sit on my couch, gaze out the window, and let my mind wander and come up with ideas. Because this is a time of year where we did this well, it's an ongoing program. Here's an exercise for you guys that I'd like you to do. And this is part of the Tony Robbins program. Is write down some 5-year intentions. Anyone can write down goals. The difference between a goal and intention is consistent action. I'll say that again. The difference between a goal and an intention is consistent action. And I'm not going to go through all these now. So I've got 5-year intentions, just like stuff I just work on. Some of them, you'd look at it and go, that's just plain bullshit. That's never going to happen. And I'm looking at it going, yeah, I can see that happening. I have no idea how I'm going to do it. However, it's there and it gives me something to aim at. Like 4 road trips annually. I don't even have a driver's license. That doesn't matter. Here, list of classic cars and bikes to put in my garage in 5 years' time. I don't have a driver's license. So that probably means somewhere between now and 5 years, one of my intentions, one of my action plans for that would be to actually go and get my driver's license back. That's a whole long story that involved getting it washed away in a hurricane. Then I work on mental intentions, but my book is constantly full. It's always been filled up with different things. What's the absolute best thing you want for yourself mentally? Like, where do you want to be emotionally? Where do you want to be? What's the absolute best thing you can do for yourself spiritually? Is it go and sit in an ashram up a mountain? Is it go to your church, your temple, your mosque every week? Is it donate to your church, temple, mosque, monastery? I don't know. Mentally, physically, what's the best thing you can do for yourself physically? Well, only you know that, but the absolute best. Now, what happens is when we get close to our absolute best, we by default raise our limiting beliefs. And the example I'll give you of this is personal experience. Is when I was in my early 20s, so I was in Canada, I was very materialistic because I didn't grow up I didn't grow up in like the gutter, but I didn't grow up with anything. You know, everything was we can't afford it. You know, I went to a school with like richer kids than me, and they go on vacation to Spain for 2 weeks, and we drive 20 minutes to the like seaside and stay in a bed and breakfast for a week a year. So I grew up with this inferiority complex and never thought I was worthy, because when I asked my dad, can we do this or can I get that? It's always, we can't afford it. So I kind of grew up with that mentality. Then when I could afford stuff, I started buying all kinds of shit. Now, here's the challenge. And sure, it's a thing to go through in life. I would say it's not a thing to end your life with. When I was in Canada, I was broke. And one of my mentors, one of my true mentors in life, the late Pierce McDonald, one day asked me if you could have anything right now. And I'm in my early 20s and I've already seen a lot of the world. I dropped out of school at 14. And he said, if you could have anything right now in the world, what would it be? And I said, $500. That's what I wanted. That's all in the world I wanted. I was hungry. I was couch surfing. And I couldn't see past that point. He went, no, really? I went, okay, really, $1,000. I went, no, really, what do you want? I went, I'd never be able to get it. He said, I don't care about that. What do you want? I said, really, what I'd like? A black 5 Series BMW with black leather. And he said, why do you want that? I said, you know what? There's a guy I grew up with and he was a year younger than me, but he was like wealthy and arrogant and a prick. That's not swearing, is it? And like he showed up at a nightclub one night in this BMW and I showed up on the bus and he had all these hot chicks with him and I didn't. And I left on the bus. And that really got me pissed. Like I was jealous. I was envious. And that one image of that particular car stuck in my mind. So Pearson stuck me in his car. We drove to a BMW dealership. We sat in a car. And this is a great exercise you can do with anyone you work with. We sat in a car and the dealer guy said, you can take it for a spin. And I just went, I couldn't see myself in that car. I said, you know what, can you drive it? I'll just sit in the back. But I got the smell and I got the noise. So this is a great team building exercise you can do. It's like when you meet people you work with, don't do it in McDonald's. You don't have to do it in a five-star high-end restaurant. I understand there's a balance. Or do some really cool shit with them. Some of the stuff costs nothing. The people you work with, team up. It only takes 2 people to build a local community, and one of them is you. So it's only about you and one other person. So for team building, raising your limiting beliefs, what I used to do on Sundays, I'm going back now. Oh, by the way, I got a 5 Series 3 months after that. I trashed it a month after I got it. So then I went out and just bought a Corvette. But however, my limiting beliefs had changed. The challenge with the material, I'm going back here, I just skipped some. The challenge with material beliefs, if you're driving that really cool BMW and you're at the lights and the Mercedes pulls up next to you, you don't feel so good. And all of a sudden your limiting beliefs change. So you get the BMW and then the Bentley shows up next to you and leaves you in the dust. And it's like, shit, all of a sudden I don't feel so good. And then you start exploring Bentleys. And I've been this whole gamut. I don't even drive anymore. But limiting beliefs, and these work on everything. It works with mental beliefs. It works with the perfect story. This is the 4-minute mile. It's been told so many times. For hundreds of years, doctors actually said if a human being ran a mile in less than 4 minutes, their lungs would implode. They'd have a heart attack. They would just die on the track. And that was it. And he was stood at that. But there's one guy, Dr. Roger Bannister, that figured out all he had to do. Someone's logged into this from another device. Are we still on here? Are we still going? Keep this meeting going. Okay, someone's logging in from another device. Or someone's trying to log in. So, Dr. Rogers Bannister, this was I think 1963, 64, figured out if he could have a pace setter running next to him, so he could run a 1/4 mile in just under a minute, he'd be fine. And that's what he did. And he ignored what everyone else said. And he beat it by a fraction of a second. His last 1/4 mile runner was Chris Chataway. What's interesting is something that was impossible, 4 people did the same thing the next year. Since then, there's people 60, 70 years old who run 4-minute miles. I don't know what the record is now, but I suspect it's down around 380. So that's raising your limiting beliefs. So it doesn't have to be material. It could be anything. And let's just take the financial out of the equation here. It could be anything. When we, I've done things here. Ken is a perfect example. He did a reboot, and it was 14 pounds down in 3 days. And some guy say, that's impossible, that's bullshit, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, like 10 people said, no, I did 10 pounds, I did this, that, and the other. All of a sudden, we have changed the parameters on what's humanly possible in the physical sense. We are changing limiting beliefs. However, it's got to stem from within. We got to change our own limiting beliefs. So there's always that thing, and I would say put monetary last. Dawn's on here, I've noticed, and we're working on a course at the moment, and I know a challenge Dawn is facing is trying to get up before her children to do the course. When I tell people, if you'd have told me 4 years ago, right, here's what you're going to do. You're going to sleep 3 hours total a day. You're going to eat maybe once every couple of days. You're going to have more energy than ever. And you're going to be non-stop all day long. I'd have said you're a lunatic and you're going to die. When I first started doing it, even once a day, I would have medical advisors saying, you've got to stop this stuff. It's unsustainable. I'm like 3.5 years in. I'm still doing it. And I've got more energy than ever and less body fat than ever. So limiting beliefs are limiting to others, but also can be limiting to ourselves until we do it or until we see somebody else do it. And this is where team building comes into play, is when people see that you can do it. And I'm kind of at a disadvantage and an advantage. Advantage is I don't have a family and all the rest of it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going back to instructing. I'm putting more stuff on my plate now to keep myself busier. And my buddy Franz, who I train with, says, for a guy that doesn't look like he does anything, I've never seen anyone as busy in his life. Like, I get messages, do you ever sleep? Yeah, I do like 3 hours a day, I'm fine. Like, what's the big deal? That's dangerous. Well, I've been doing it 3 years, I feel great. What if you want more? Oh, if I want more, I'll sleep more. Like, my body will just tell me. And that is limiting beliefs. I would not have believed that had you told me that without experiencing it. Like, don't try it if you're not used to it. It became a process with me. We can apply these limiting beliefs. So if I ask every one of you on here just to tap in now on the chat, if you were on a really hot date, there's no right or wrong for this tonight, how much would be a really great dinner? Like if you really were on a hot date and you're using, I don't have a credit card, so you're not using my credit card. You're using Brian James's credit card. How much would be an expensive dinner? Okay, Ken says $200. There's no right or wrong with this. There's type it in, please. Let's engage here. Let's get plugged in. 200. Okay. I need to do this full Tony Robbins program with you guys. It's going to take $150 a plate. It's going to take probably an hour, but we're not doing it tonight, but I will set it up somewhere. 325, 100. There's no right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. And I would have said about, when I got involved in business, I would have said, yeah, 100. I will tell you right now, 20 years ago, I went out with a guy for dinner and the tab was $19,500 in the Bahamas with Tim Mulcahy. We did drink quite a lot of wine. That's all I'm saying. However, it's also renowned as having the best lobster on the planet. So, and ironically, it's where the guy stayed last month in Bahamas, exactly the same place. So at that point, I'm going, that's nuts. However, it's a reality. It's just maybe not our reality. There's no right or wrong. Now, my guess is here, and I'm just mindful of the time, 50. So you're all sort of 100, 150 a plate, 325. Ken would cook his own and make a video of it, no doubt. And there's no right or wrong. Now, the chances are, whatever the figure is you've put on there, you've had a meal for that price. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, just give me a thumbs up. Yep, exactly. So that's our limiting beliefs. That's what we believe It is. Until we have something, until we have something that may cost more. So the final thing of Tony Robbins on this, and again, I need to do the full program because it's an absolute exercise here, and I've done it with people, and some of them have said the best coaching they've ever had in their life, because I'm going to go interactive with you guys and just completely blow your mind. I nearly said another word on there. So accept only the best, not just from what we receive, but what we give, putting the best effort in. If you're working with other people and you're, can you get on a three-way? Can you do this? Can you jump on a Zoom last minute? Yeah, absolutely, I can do that. Like, I'll figure it out. And if I can't, I'll just say, you know what? I'm already committed to a time with somebody else. Like, we'll make it work. And we have enough of a community where anyone can step in and do stuff. Raising your limiting beliefs is just a simple exercise we've just done now on how much is dinner for two. You could apply the same thing to how much is a soup, how much is a dress, how much is a good year's income. If you're using numbers, how fast is a good, like I could ask Josh right now, what's a good deadlift? Him and I would have completely different answers, because he may have lifted, I don't know, Josh, but let's say 500 pounds. I definitely haven't. I definitely haven't. It's not my jam. However, it's just a limiting belief. Finally, here's the final thing, is if you're struggling with limiting beliefs, or you're doing everything right and everything right and everything right and everything right and everything right, but you're not getting the right results, ask for help, be leadable, be coachable, and change the strategy. There may be something you're doing in team building that's not working for you. Like one of the biggest hurdles for people, and it's ego driven, and I was the biggest culprit of anyone, is three-way texting. Don't be an expert. You don't need to. You need to see a few three-way texts, or be on a few three-way calls, and then you'll figure it out. It works. Trying to build a team on your own, and I'll tell you right now, takeaway, if you are ever using the phrase my team, it means you're trying to build a team on your own. Stop that shit. We have one team and it's our community. That's it. One. So you can reach out to anyone. Anyone will help. Josh, one day with a bunch of events ago, I kind of look after a bunch of stuff at events, try and help them run smoothly. I'm completely overrun. And I messaged Josh and I messaged Nick and I say, listen, I need two people to help me out here. There's 3 doors and there's me. Straight away, boom. I have no financial connection to Josh. I have no incentive. There's nothing. Or Nick. I've done events with Rob DeBoer. I've done events with Mitch. There's no connection. There's just our community. That's what we do. So if you're doing what you think is right and you're not getting the results that you think are right, reach out to somebody and find out how we can support you. And that should be the same with anyone you're working with. And it sometimes could just be something like a personality. I'm going to wrap this in 1 minute. If you understand color personalities, red, yellow, green, blue, and I didn't when I first started this, I just thought everyone's like me, ready, fire, aim, ready, fire, aim, ready, fire, aim, reload, ready, fire, aim, ready, fire, aim. Whereas some people are ready, aim, 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 aim. Hang on, let me oil the barrel. Let me see where it was made. I'm not that type of personality. Greens are the people that do the research. Sometimes, I sent this link to someone, I sent this video to someone, they've not got back to me. There'll be a green personality going off down their own green personality rabbit hole. So you may be working with someone that's not a fit for you, but you'll gel with people that are. I'm going to wrap this, guys. Thanks for attending. I know the time of year it is. Call to action right now is Champion Success Profiles on Facebook. There's a live going on. Who is interviewing who? Josh, are you interviewing someone? Who you interviewing, man?
Stephanie Stewart.
Oh, Stephanie. If you guys don't know Stephanie, she's a blast. And right now she's just traveling around the country. Sold a house, traveling around the country in a Jeep. Traveling, seeing the country, doing a thing. That will be a blast. So guys, I got to wrap this. You guys and me got to get on the next one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your input. And if you need support, there's someone within this community that will be a good personality fit for you. It may not be me, but there'll be someone in this community that's a good personality fit for you. Be leadable, coachable, teachable. Ask for help while you're involved in this whole team building strategy. And I will somehow put this whole Tony Robbins program together for you. It takes about an hour. I'll try and get it done next week. Thanks again, guys. Peace out.